is something that's so important for everything. And today it's a business at its best, networking one-on-one, learning to connect. And it's presented by a panel of our local networking pros. They're gurus at it. As Derek said, skin and grin, but we're gonna have to come up with another word for skin, so that's okay. Networking and connecting is critically important to growing your business. And next month, we will have a full load of in-person events to utilize the skills that you're about to hear about today. So with that, a few housekeeping rules. Today's session is being recorded, so please keep your mics on mute for the duration of the presentation, unless we open it up and we all start engaging that way. I do want this to be an engaging session, so please feel free to ask any questions via the chat window. Erin just submitted an example from that. And we will have a Q&A portion at the conclusion of this presentation, but we will also have a breakout time where you will actually be creating your own elevator speech or a 30-second pitch, so to speak. So with that, before we get started, here is a short clip from Graves Gilbert Clinic, our title sponsor for Business at its Best.
At Graves Gilbert Clinic, their top priority is the health and safety of their patients, employees, and visitors. And because of that, Graves Gilbert Clinic is now offering telehealth visits, which allows patients and physicians to use an app to communicate via video chat. Any patient who would like to schedule a telehealth appointment is encouraged to call their Graves Gilbert Clinic physician's office directly, or call the Graves Gilbert Clinic telehealth hotline at 270-746-5790.
Awesome.
At Graves Gilbert Clinic.
Awesome. So with that, I'd like to ask a question for all of the participants here today. So that question is, and I want you to answer via chat. That question is, how comfortable are you networking or connecting one-on-one in an in-person situation? Either right, comfortable, very comfortable, or not comfortable. And put that in the chat, and we will see who we have with us today. It depends on the environment. Very comfortable, fairly comfortable, comfortable. Get everybody? Yeah. Okay. Well, good. So so we have a range of fairly comfortable to very comfortable, and even to networking pros. Sometimes networking can definitely be a little challenging. So today we're going to hear from our three panelists and what helps them network, why they network, and I'll let them explain a little bit more. So I'm going to first introduce our panelists. We have Stephanie Matthews with Christian Family Radio. They will be telling you about themselves in just a moment. And we also have Elizabeth Newbold with United Way. And we have Derek Olive with WKU Division of Extended Learning and Outreach. DELO is really the name. That's what we all call it. So with that, I really appreciate, again, you all being here and partnering with us on this networking program. And I'd like each of you to give just a brief overview of your organization and what you do, and explain why networking is crucial to your position, to your job. I'm going to start with Stephanie.
Well, hello, I'm Stephanie Matthews with Christian Family Radio, and we are celebrating our 35th year on the air today. So I'm super excited to network. I've been a part of the ministry for about 4 years now, and came here after working at the chamber where I kept my networking teeth. So I'm really excited. I'll give extra props to Derek, who'll speak here shortly. He was a great mentor to me when I first ever began having to network as part of my job. But we have 3 stations. We are here centrally in Bowling Green. We have a tower in Owensboro and a tower in Glasgow. And locally, we're 90.7 FM.
Awesome. Why is networking crucial to your job, Stephanie?
In my role now, it's really important because we're a nonprofit ministry and we are supported by the community. So being able to network means I'm connecting with folks who either already support our ministry or I'm sharing about, what we do in the community, why we're on the air and what we're about, it's a great way for me to continue to meet people who might even need the type of ministry we provide.
Awesome. Great. Elizabeth.
Yes, I am the Marketing and Communications Director here at United Way of Southern Kentucky. We were founded in 1956, and our mission is really to be the leader in bringing resources together to build a stronger community. And our vision is that everyone in Southern Kentucky would have the access to income, education, health, and safety net that they need to not just strive, but not just, messed that up. Not survive, but strive in their life. We're located here in the Brad region, so we are overseeing and working with over 51 nonprofit programs in 10 counties. And networking is so important to us because people move, they change careers, they change roles, people retire, and we always want to be what we are now, which is a nonprofit for nonprofits and helping other people. And so if we don't stay out in front of other people and get to know people and build connections and build partnerships and relationships, our role in the community could diminish. So we're always striving to continue to gain momentum to make a better community. So that's why it's so important to us.
Awesome. Thank you. Derek, your turn.
All right. Well, I'm Derek Olive, Western Kentucky University. And yes, I do work for DELO, Division of Extended Learning and Outreach. And I will go into what I would tell you about WKU, but I'm going to tell you about my little piece of WKU because you know about the credit side. Most people understand that and the sports and all that stuff. What I am is the non-credit arm of the university. What that means is we do alternative learning. We do workforce development training. We do non-credit programs online at self-pace. Say you want to improve your Excel skills, you can sign up for a course today. We also do one small piece called conference services. We oversee the NICE Conference Center and the Augustine Alumni Center conference activities. And I also do a training resource and event planning services, which works with groups and planning conferences and events on our campus and beyond. And then we also work with, and I got a lot of alsos here, sorry, Society for Lifelong Learning, which is geared towards 50 people who are 50 and older, or wiser, as I'd like to say, lifelong learners. And it's for them to run their own program, and they design, teach, and market and sell themselves in programming activities. So it's a pretty neat little sidebar of what we get to work with every day. So that's kind of me in a nutshell with the non-credit arm university, because we are the one and only on WKU's campuses, and most campuses across the country will have one like this. So that's what we do. Awesome. As far as networking, so as you kind of heard just a minute ago, I sell or provide training, conference services, long-term programming. And the thing about that is, those are all things. It's not like buying a car. You get an impulse to buy a car. You go buy a car. You pick out what you like. You want a blue one. You want a yellow one. You want a van, a minivan, or a Corvette, or whatever you want to buy. You go buy it, and you design it. With conferencing, you have to have a need. So you have to have a reason to get space or a reason for your company to need training, which is all obvious. But in my world, I just got to be your face and understand that, hey, if you want one of those services, I remember talking to Derek that day. He offers that. And that's why network is important to me.
Awesome. Good. So yeah, so networking, from what I'm hearing from you all, I mean, it's about growing your business, finding that niche, helping people understand what you do, brand recognition, and community. I mean, getting your name in front of the community and letting them know what you do. And all of those are very good networking reasons and things that people come out of it. Networking also, and just building your relationships. And I don't know about some of you, but at networking events where you've met somebody and actually you've become friends with them, and you just never know what can happen by your connections when you're out at an event or somewhere where you have the ability to meet new people and build new relationships. So with that, I am going to ask each of the presenters questions, and then we'll get their answers, and we'll just go from there. So I'm going to start off. Derek, I'll start with you. Have you always been comfortable networking with others? And if not, how did you get over that initial fear and break the ice?
Well, my first answer to that question, believe it or not, is no. I was very nervous when I first entered the industry of having to sell or work or manage what I do for a living, and that even goes back to my early days in the restaurant industry. Believe it or not. So the first thing I'll say is practice, practice, practice. Networking is a learned skill. It's like anything else, and once you develop a style, you stick with it and you keep working with it and you kind of find what fits you best. For me, I learned a long time ago, as much as I like to talk, I love to talk. I'm a better person or a better networker when I listen. So I'll listen and shut this mouth of mine and let people talk about themselves. And I'll ask pointed questions to get people to talk about themselves. That's kind of really the thing that I've done. And then once we build that rapport, that's when I move in there for the kill. So that's how I do it. So.
Awesome. Elizabeth.
Yeah, I have always been an extrovert for the most part. And so networking comes easy to me, having conversations. However, I will say I have a syndrome, and sometimes that makes me feel not so great. And on those days, it is challenging, but I have to focus on the person in front of me. And so if I'm in an occasion where I don't feel great and networking is not something that I'm super excited about, I just think about, well, have a conversation with that person and be interested in that person. And then my mind's off of how I might be feeling or the worries of the day or things like that. So that's how I always overcome my anxiety or anything that I may have regarding networking, is asking good questions to the person in front of me. Because once you get into that conversation, the majority of the time, the conversation kind of flows and you enjoy it. So it's just always getting over that initial anxiety that you may have.
So what are some questions that you use?
I always, ask a person about what their job is, obviously, but then one of the things that I always like to ask is why that person loves their job or why they're in the role that they're in. Because I find that knowing the passion behind someone's in their job opens up a whole door of understanding about the company or organization as well as the person. And then oftentimes I'll ask people what they like to do in their spare time, because then the next time you see them, whether it's traveling or dancing or whatever it may be, you can ask a question that's not related to work that maybe can break the ice if you're in a stressful situation. So those are two of the key questions that I usually ask.
That's awesome. Great. Now, Stephanie, same question.
Okay, well, go back to the original question because I'm so immersed in what they're saying.
That's okay. Have you always been comfortable networking? And if not, how did you get over that initial fear and break the ice?
Well, a little bit like Elizabeth, I'm sort of a born extrovert, but I was always, just because of how some things were in my family growing up, I was always the new person at a school, in a neighborhood. I was just always the new person. So if I was going to have relationships, I had to initiate. So whether I would have always enjoyed networking, I don't know, but life kind of trained me for it. And so that's really how I have become most comfortable with networking. It's just something I always had to do. Just always was in a situation where I'm a new person and everybody in the room was new to me, so I had to figure out how to do that. Now, though, praise the Lord, in the job, it's working for me. So, yay, right?
Yeah.
What I had found that really is it is my go-to psychology for networking is I intentionally find, and good grief, if I've ever singled you out for this, I'm telling on myself. But I find somebody in the room that's kind of standing off. You can tell they're uncomfortable with networking. They really don't know people who are there, and that's my person. I just go get them. I introduce myself. I do some of the things like Elizabeth and Derek have talked about. I ask them some things about themselves. And if I find out they don't really know other people, then I'm on a mission. I'm going to take them to as many people that I know and introduce them. And then I find I don't always have to ask all the questions because the people I'm introducing them to, I don't know, like Elizabeth, will ask always feeling like they don't know people. So let's solve that and introduce them to as many people as I know. And at times they'll know people maybe I don't, and then they'll return the favor.
Awesome. Yeah, it's all about asking the right questions. And Elizabeth, you brought up a good point. There are days when you're off. You don't feel like networking, but you have to. And that I like the way you said, just focus in on the person. And generally speaking, when that happens to me, if I'm having an off day or I'm tired or not feeling well, I personally get energy from other people when I'm around other people. So that helps me and jazzes me up. So I generally can get into a rhythm like Derek was talking about and get into my rhythm. But it's can definitely be a challenge some days. And like we said, not everybody is really super comfortable as well. So, and knowing why you're doing it and what you're going after, the end result is part of that. So what do you all feel that is important to continually build and develop your network? Why is it important? Stephanie, I'll start with you.
Well, in particular, what I do is heavily fundraising driven. And so there's times, there's always that attrition. People are going to come in to the ministry and people are going to go out of the ministry, just different seasons in life. And so it's just constantly necessary. Plus, the additional thing that I do is it's not just the fundraising for networking for fundraising component. I'm also pretty helpful at getting people in for interviews that help our on-air team, the kind of interviews we're going to collect in order to tell the cool things going on in the community. One of the things we love to do is talk about other nonprofits. So I'm finding that because I have multiple reasons for wanting to connect with other people, it's not just for the fundraising side. I'm just always in need of conversations, what's going on in the community, what can we talk about on the air that's good and amazing, because there's plenty of that going on. So I'm there to network for fundraising, as well as I'm kind of a pseudo reporter. I'm looking for those great stories or those opportunities to use the resources we have to bless the community.
Yeah.
And that's cool. People are constantly leading it, so you're constantly needing to draw into it as well.
Awesome. Great. Derek, same question.
Well, for me, it's important to always build relationships because, kind of what I sell is impulse, or it's out of the blue. One day someone says to your boss looks at you or a colleague says, "Hey, I need you to get space, or I need you to find a trainer." And as I mentioned before, I really want WKU and i.e. me to be on at least the thought. I'd like to be able to provide a proposal for you on either front. And that's kind of why it's important that I keep, continue to network, to build rapport, to find, to incite engagement. Because it's one of those things is, I guess it's kind of like people don't tell on their friends, when they get mad at them. Well, they definitely call their friends when they need something. So that's what that's my goal in rapport and trying to network.
That's great. Yeah, they definitely call people when they need something. And that's the beauty of networking. You might meet Derek today and think, oh, well, he's a great guy, but I don't really need his services. But then you talk to somebody who needs it and you said, hey, I just met this guy and he's got this great center that you could have your conference at. So that's exactly how it works. So wonderful. Elizabeth, same question.
Yeah, so we are obviously in kind of the organization of connecting dots and growing programs in the community and helping other people. So when we network, it's not just for fundraising, of course, which is important, but it's also connecting with volunteers. We throughout the year have thousands and thousands of people volunteer. And so that's an exciting thing that if we're out networking, there may be an individual who may say, oh, I really want to help with Feed the Need or Day of Caring or different activities throughout the year. Or like you said, may say, hey, I have some friends that love to volunteer or retired and are looking to get plugged in. We have an Emerging Leader Council here and a Retire United and Student United Way. So we have a lot of different organizations within our organization. So being able to connect those dots through networking is incredibly useful and needed.
Yeah, awesome. Wonderful. Thank you. So now I know all of you go to chamber events, but what's your favorite event to network and why? Stephanie,
I love coffee hours.
coffee
I'm a
hour?
morning person, and the food is always good. You can't go wrong with breakfast food. But I love coffee hours because it's a large community. A lot of people come to that, and if you get there early enough, you have time to mingle and sit at different tables. So I love the coffee hour. It's nice to have a speaker. You get a little bit more time at a table with people, kind of connect in the table, but you can also network in the grand scale because so many people attend.
Yeah, great. All right, Elizabeth?
I love the let's do lunch. I love, being with a group of 4 or 5 people, kind of a small group, because I feel like you can have more in-depth conversations, whereas some of the other events are wonderful and you oftentimes just get an overview of what's going on in that person's job or in their business or things like that. Whereas at the Let's Do Lunch, you really can ask some deep dive questions to really understand the organization, where they're going, where they've been, as well as the person and what their career path has looked like and things like that. So I love the Let's Do Lunch and that more kind of one-on-one quality time.
Yeah, awesome. And Derek?
Well, interesting. We went all around the spectrum. I chose business after hours, but I will say I have one specific one, and one that's typically held, if they so choose, Independence Bank on a yearly basis. And the reason why I like that one so much is because there are staging areas. So you walk in, you have a chance to meet and talk with someone there. And then typically they have the food upstairs in this little corner and up there. So every time I've been there, I've always sat at, kind of like Stephanie had mentioned, at a different table and met and had a chance to network then. And then also for the Rotunda, they do the award ceremony, or not the awards, the giveaways. Sorry about that. And the Rotunda. And for some odd reason, every year that I've gone to this event, I've always ended up on the Rotunda with someone a little different. And we always have a sidebar conversation. And it's usually someone I haven't met. And to add to that fact, I've also won multiple times with the drawing there. So it helps. It does help to make that more important to me.
Well, that's a good reason. That's a good reason.
Of course, the events guy would really, really break down the components of what makes a great event. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And you brought up a good fact, a good point too, Derek, is that you've met somebody that you hadn't met before. And I think with networking, that's really important that you think about what you want to get out of it, what your end result is, of course, what you want to present or do. And I always recommend for new people that, if you get to talk to 2 people at a large event and have a good conversation with them, I think you're really doing well. It's not about getting business cards and just writing their name, getting their name and meeting them. It's about building that relationship. So with that, that's a good segue. So what are some of your top tips and techniques for networking? I mean, things to avoid and not avoid. And I'm going to put this out here right now. So you're standing with someone and you want to not talk to them anymore. What do you do? Oh, anybody? Derek.
Well, when I answer that question, I always say don't worry about the awkwardness, because there's always that opportunity for the conversation to get stale or end, and all of a sudden you're in silence or someone walks away from you. Don't be offended by that, because it's going to happen sometimes. But to answer your question, it's always good to, and this is an old, I'm a fraternity guy, so this is a recruitment trick we used to do, is you find someone who has the same interest that you may know that of the person you're talking to, and you pass them off. You introduce them and say, hey, I know Stephanie, she's in the ministry. I noticed that you so you're very heavily involved at your church or your area, and I know you guys can talk. Now Stephanie probably will kick me later for passing her off, but that's what happens sometimes.
So you can always count on me, buddy. I'll take your cap off.
So do either one of you, Elizabeth or Stephanie, have a tip on how to get out of that situation, because I think for folks that are not real comfortable networking, that's a fear that they're going to get caught in a conversation that they don't want to be in. And so either one of you?
Yeah, no, for a point of humor, I was gonna say, since I'm the ministry, I fall back on that. We just start talking about Jesus, and if they're uncomfortable with that, they'll jump over. So
I guess that's one way.
I don't have you met Jesus. Do you know it? And then they're gone. No, I'm just kidding. I say that to be funny. I don't know. I'll usually look at if it's just gone on and on and on. I'll divert too by saying, I do not want to monopolize your time. I know you've got folks to meet, and I've got to say so and so. Say hey to my donor over there. It's been a ball. Here's my card. Let's get together sometime.
That's a great way too.
Say,
So we've got the pass. We've got the pass. We've got the, oh, I need to talk to somebody over here. Elizabeth, anything different that you do?
Similar, but I'll just say, let's keep networking. I'm going to go talk to somebody else. There's lots of awesome people here that you can talk to, just so that you both can keep the momentum going. And you're not, sometimes it might be worthwhile to talk to the same person all night, but there are other times where, you know, the momentum of conversation has ended and it's better to go on to someone else. So I'll just say, hey, I'm going to keep networking. If you want to keep networking, it was really nice to meet you. And that way you're not disregarding them or the conversation. You're still valuing them, but letting them know that you're going to move on politely.
Yeah, that's great. Derek, you said something too, that it's when you are talking to somebody, don't take it personally if they walk away. This happens to me a lot. And I will be in a conversation with someone and then someone will pull me away. And especially at one of the chamber events. So like a staff member will pull me away, and I just sometimes feel really bad that I'm doing that, but it's, you know, and I'll excuse myself, but it does happen. So it's just, don't take it personally. So either way, who else has other tips, the techniques that you'd like to share? Derek?
Well, I didn't say, I said it earlier, but listen, I like to listen first and talk second, just because I know that I am an extrovert and I can talk all day, but I think people value and like to talk about themselves, but also too, if you're truly interested in engaging what they're talking about, you're going to find some points to reiterate or reinforce what they're talking, or what they're trying to achieve, or whatever they're trying to sell or achieve, or even or share even. So I think if you take the time to really listen and kind of do some clarification points, I think that'll show that you're more engaged, versus, because we all know there is a bit of, I guess, ingenuineness when it comes to networking, because we're there to network, and some people are going to be trying to that hard sell. That's one of my don't do's. Try to avoid the hard sell out of the gate. Don't start with the sell, and because that's hard and literally hard. That's kind of funny I said that, but it's just one of those things that turns people away when you start off with, you know, buy this for me. You know, that doesn't sound natural. And so you want the flow to become real. And even though in a networking scenario, sometimes we're being fake, and I hate to say it that way, but we're just trying to talk to each other and share our businesses and our opportunities. And sometimes they're not a match, but we still have to talk about it, and we still have to listen, and we still have to work together. So listen first, you know, make strong talking points, and then don't oversell. Don't be a hard sell.
Yeah.
I'll be quiet. I'll shut up. I like to talk. I'm sorry.
Elizabeth.
Another thing that I always like to ask that I feel like helps the conversation keep going is, what does a day in your job look like? Because sometimes people's titles don't reflect what they actually do, or there's more depth to what their job is or what their organization does. And so when you ask that question, I feel like you can get to know a little bit more behind the scenes and really maybe learn some things that you wouldn't have otherwise. So that's always one thing that I feel like is a good question to keep learning more about the person and the organization.
Yeah, that's great. Stephanie.
And mine are actually very simple, because all that is great, and you should be taking notes on everything they just shared. But mine is really simple. I make a ton of eye contact and I smile. I'm known for being smiley. I am not this happy all the time. But that being said, it just can transform just the mood of the conversation to keep a check on your countenance. I'm not saying you got to be, I'm not talking about glamour or anything like that. I just mean a genuine, make eye contact and smile. The best thing you can do. You can really impact the vibe of a room and a conversation just with your countenance.
Yeah, awesome. So with that being said, with all your tips and techniques, you've surely had some successes. So I'd love to hear one success from each of you. We'll start with Stephanie.
Well, pretty much through networking through the chamber, and specifically too because Elizabeth is on the panel as well, being able to connect with Craig Browning at US Bank was a really huge win because our station wanted to be on site at some of the service projects for Day of Caring. And because I had met him enough times through networking events at the chamber, when it was time for, we really wanted to be able to cover that, but that still takes man hours and an expense on our ministry end. I was able to go to him and say, Craig, would you underwrite us being out in the community, covering this and this story, all the good service things that are going on? And he was like, sure, yeah. We'd met enough times that he knew about what our ministry was about, and we knew we wanted to cover what United Way was doing because it's such a cool story. And the cumulative effect of networking with him resulted in a yes.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Well, I'm going to share two, but I'll keep them quick.
Okay.
One on the business side of things was years ago, probably four and a half years ago, when VidMonster was first getting started. I was working at a Houchins company, and we were looking for a media team, a videography team, and I met Sam and got them connected. And even though I'm at United Way now, they're still using VidMonster. So that was a connection that company was able to make through networking at a chamber event that is still ongoing and been positive on both sides for both VidMonster and Pan Austin. And then on the personal side, both my financial planner and my attorney, my husband and I found at chamber events. Clark Hayden is our financial planner, and anybody who may know him knows he's extremely outgoing. And we talked with him probably for a year at networking events and decided to start working with him probably 2.5, 3 years ago. And it has been one of the best things we've done personally for ourselves and our business. So those are just two of them.
Awesome. So yeah, you have really, you've hit the nail on the head. It's not just about your business and your professional development. It's about your personal growth and your personal connections. And in fact, Clark as well as Elizabeth are both in BGYP, which is another networking group for young professionals. And then Derek, I'm going to let you answer that, but he's also an ambassador for the chamber who helps us with events and recruiting and retaining partners, etc. So
yeah, I'll do mine's business, and I can think of probably several as well, but the first one that came to mind was I had my predecessor had been working with a client for many months, and then she had left, and then say half a year later I met a particular client. I didn't know this conversation had occurred, and basically simply introducing myself and having a conversation with the client. It was in Franklin at the time at a networking event. Just by introducing myself, taking the time to listen to what their needs, and then all of a sudden she realized that she'd talked to WKU already and put together that, hey, I'm with WKU, and then ultimately ended in a 9-week program that we developed for them and ran their training program for them. So it was just one of those weird, like I had no idea that there was even a conversation had, and just by spending the time to have a conversation with someone about it, I didn't even bring up the training or trying to sell anything, just talk to her. The next thing I know, it spurred her memory, just because, as Stephanie said, I had that smile, I made the eye contact, and we just clicked, and then it all came back suddenly to her, and she's like, oh yeah, and then I made a sale. Imagine that. So that's it was a one of my better networking opportunities or networking stories I could share.
Good. So I'm real curious about when you go networking, what is your pitch? I mean, if anybody's ever done any kind of networking sessions or anything like that, learning about it, you hear about your pitch or your elevator speech or something like that. How do you guys feel about that? And would one of you share your elevator pitch with us? Who would like to do that? Nobody?
Is it everybody or just me, the panel?
You on the panel, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
People gonna type that. I can't wait to read these. That's great.
Oh, we'll get there, don't worry.
I'll go for a stab at mine because I know we're gonna work on polishing those. I believe right next, John. So we are. Hi, I'm Stephanie with Christian Family Radio, and we are life-changing media. And we believe that everybody needs hope, and many people are looking for hope. And we know that media has the power to impact people one way or another. So we use our resources in media to share what is the completely trustworthy hope found in faith. And we do that through the types of conversations that we have, the relationships we build in the community with our music, the programs we put on there, and the conversations that we have on the air. And we believe that God is still at work today. And we are very passionate about sharing what he's doing now.
Awesome. You've definitely said that a couple of times. I can tell.
Especially in the past 24 hours, making sure I was ready for today, y'all.
Good. So, you don't walk up and just say your speech, do you? No. I mean, and Elizabeth and Derek jump in here. It's for me, I don't say my pitch until somebody asks me about what I do. Because it's the worst thing to do is walk up, hey, I'm Dawn Johnson and I work for the Chamber and we're a business resource that supplies all kinds of things to help your business grow and thrive. No, nobody wants to hear that. So
no, I agree that you wait to be asked, as well as you have to read your audience. So what I share with someone, my elevator pitch, so to speak, what I'm going to share may change based on their age or what they like to do or what kind of industry they're in, because what may connect with them may not be the same. You know, all of us are different and all of what we do is different. So I always change what I share with someone to meet them where they are and to be mindful of the situation. Sometimes there's multiple people around you. So, you know, going on a rant about what you do isn't going to be beneficial. You want to have it more conversation, but sometimes it's one-on-one and you can share more in depth about what you do. So I'm always kind of thinking through the backside of what I'm going to share.
Good. So, and Derek, any other?
No, I'm about the same, Elizabeth, because I have so many different arms, if you will, of things that we do.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, if given a chance to present to an audience, I might throw it out there. You know, I'll do that.
Well, you know, that's your job.
Yeah.
And it's like me. If I meet somebody and we get talking for a while, and then I find out they're not a chamber partner, and I kind of jokingly say, you know, would you like to be a chamber partner? Because you know, it's my job. I have to ask you, and,
Yeah.
and you know, kind of a anecdotal type of thing. So with that, I'd like everybody who's on the call to kind of prepare, think about for a few minutes what your elevator pitch is, or if you have one, maybe write some words down and what it is. And as you're thinking about it, Erin's going to break us up into breakout rooms, and you're going to share your speech or talk about your speech with the folks that are in your room, and help each other, you know, critique, you know, what you like, what didn't feel right, all those things. It's very, very helpful for people. So, and none of this is personal. It's just, you know, helping each other be better at what we do. So like I said, Erin will be breaking us up.
I am assigning the rooms now.
Awesome.
you were to find a nest and like they scurried into swarm, no, then I'd be like, I'm gonna. But I think I'm already like, have my That's whatever. So they tell me that's the thing. Okay, sure. They told me that. I was like, okay, we need to get this and get together some stuff. Get it. Send out our didn't hear. She goes, when can we expect these items? And I was like, what do you mean? I haven't even sent out the RFP yet. Like, you're not gonna get them for a while. So I ordered ready and they have no specifications on what kind of pin or USB or whatever you want. They have no. I don't know. They have no. Those are for gifts. These are for site visits. So now they're having to use the glass ones for site visits because they don't have one, the old one. And so then I was like, okay, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of different pins, USB, and Mint pins that you can find. I need a little bit more help. So I sent out this RFP, and now I have all these people asking me what kind of pins, what kind of this, what kind of this. And I asked her, and she was like, I don't care. I just need them.
Denise, you didn't join? Did they assign you? I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Wonder why.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Now I can.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I'm here.
Did she assign you a room?
I joined, it came onto the room and I joined it. And I'm with you.
No,
Oh,
I have Denise, I have you in room 2 with Elizabeth
Oh.
Newbold and Lita Johnson.
All right, I'm gonna leave this then.
Okay. Dawn, do you want to be in a room?
No,
Cool.
I was in one, but Stephanie and Lauren were there, so I just
Okay.
accidentally clicked myself in. So then I left.
And I asked Lauren to text me when her group is finishing up, so I'll send a broadcast.
Okay.
Yes. You did.
Yeah, I think we should end the conversation about 150, 150.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Give some time for questions.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I'll call her desk. I tried to call her someone.
Why did you do that? Hey, Dawn, it's not letting me go to that other breakout room.
Aaron, can you hear?
Hey Denise, I'm gonna reassign you.
Yeah, because I came out
Again?
breakout 1 and that's when I joined and I got to Dawn, but I didn't.
Okay. I'm gonna put you in room 2. So I
Okay.
just sent you.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna start bringing people back in.
Okay, you scared me.
I'm sorry. All right. I closed the breakout rooms and it's got 54 seconds before it
Okay.
ends.
Awesome. Get a couple more.
It's always weird when you're spotlighted.
Yeah. Hello, Jared. We'll make the, put it in gallery view so we can see everybody.
All right. Let's see.
So welcome
Is that
back.
better?
I know it was short, but you know, it's just a snippet of what are some of the things that you can be doing to practice. I'm going to ask you all, you're very welcome to unmute since we're a smaller group. You're welcome to unmute, and I'd like to hear from anybody who has some feedback or thoughts about what you just did.
It's the crowd that's here. Will there be a way for us all to still somehow connect with each other after this session is over?
Sure.
Or do we need to broadcast how you get in touch with each of us?
Sure, we can share the contact with you guys, no problem.
Okay, great, because I would love that. I was just talking with Tony, and the number of people that she's really trying to connect with and for what purpose would be useful if we all had each other's contact.
Okay. True networker, Stephanie, you go, girl.
But it was cool because she's here for the networking, like to learn more about the networking portion, but also to actually connect with the folks that are in the room. So.
Yeah. Anybody else have any feedback? Oh, sorry, Stephanie.
You're fine. You didn't come down.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I thought it was cool to talk to Elizabeth about my job. 'Cause I feel like not a lot of people know what I do. So that was really cool to be able to talk to her and Denise about what I do. And I'm actually meeting with Denise tomorrow, so that was pretty fun.
Somebody
And this is
can
my first time really networking at all, so.
close your mic if you've got noise in the background. Thank you. All right, I'm sorry, Lita.
Do you want me to say that again?
Say that, what you said at the end for sure.
I just thought it was cool to be able to talk about my job because this is my first time networking at all. I just started talking to the Chamber of Commerce. We've been a member for a while, especially since I've worked here, but I've never really talked to anyone. So it was really cool that Elizabeth and Denise both got to connect with me. It's just cool to get to know people that I'm actually partnered with. So,
Where are you from? What business?
Mr. Reuter Plumbing.
Oh, okay, awesome. Wonderful.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Or have any questions about anything for anyone? No? No questions? Okay, then you're all ready to register for all our events and get out there and go networking, right? So with that, I am going to turn it over to Lauren so she can tell us about how to register for the events and what they are coming up.
Thanks, Dawn, and thanks for our panel today. I love hearing from Elizabeth and Derek and Stephanie. It's always good to see you guys, and a lot of what you said resonated and related. So it's good to know that I'm on a good networking path because I am an introvert at heart, which is kind of concerning because I am the director of programs and events here. But like Derek said, it's a learning process. So I thought today was great, and I really enjoyed hearing from all of you. So thank you for your time today. Thank you so much. If any of you were able to tune in yesterday to our Facebook live feed, we announced our 2021 Athena winner and our small business person of the year. It was such a great day. We had beautiful chamber weather. So if you weren't able to tune in, we announced those winners. Our Athena winner this year is Julie Milam from WNKY TV. I don't think a lot of people were surprised. Julie really goes above and beyond in what she does for our community, and not just here for the chamber, but she's just such an asset to our community. So we're so proud of her. And we also announced again the Small Business Person of the Year winner, which was Tahir Zakik. He is the owner of Taz Trucking, and both of those individuals are going to be speaking as our keynote speakers at the Excellence Awards Luncheon on May 25th at the Corvette Museum. So it's a really good excuse to all get together for a day of networking and celebrating our small businesses and our recipients this year. We're also going to be announcing our Athena Young Professional and our Administrative Professional of the Year. Again, that's going to be on May 25th at the National Corvette Museum, and tickets are on sale now. So if you're interested in attending or want more information, you can go to our website at bgchamber.com. And then I also wanted to talk about a few of our upcoming networking events. I had written these down before we got started, and it looks like I kind of hit the nail on the head because each one of these I'm going to talk about, Derek and Elizabeth and Stephanie mentioned. So they've been good ambassadors for these programs that we have coming up. So thank you guys. First coming up is Let's Do Lunch, like Elizabeth talked about. It is a really great, relaxed one-on-one opportunity. So that's going to be May 11th. The location, I believe, is going to be at Local Taco. And if you want to get registered, you can do so on our website or give us a call. We also have our first business after hours coming back after being shut down for maybe over a year now, I believe. This is our
Over a
first
year.
Yeah, so thank you, Don. Yeah. So that's going to be on May 20th at First Bank. So Derek, be sure and mark your calendar. And then also, Derek, I looked up Independence Bank for you. That is coming in November. So go ahead and mark your calendar. And then Stephanie, this one's for you. We have our first coffee hour after a year. So we are just still so excited about that one. That's going to be at Taz Trucking. Taz is really busy in May. They've got a lot going on, a lot to celebrate. So we're excited to host it there and celebrate them. That one is going to be limited attendance. We're still trying to comply with all of the COVID guidelines and attendance. So it won't be as largely attended as it normally is. So if you're interested in attending, please get registered as soon as possible. We do anticipate that filling up. And then Don had mentioned this at the beginning of today's program, our Power Hour. That is a program where you can come if you're a new member or even an existing member to learn up on how you can take full advantage of your chamber benefits. There's a lot, so it's a lot to take in. So if you're an existing member, it's a good opportunity to get refreshed. We are going to be hosting this in person. We've been doing it virtually, but we are going to bring it back in person. It's going to be June 20th here at the chamber.
22nd.
22nd, sorry, 22nd.
Sorry.
So I know that's a data dump. So if you have any questions, or if I said anything that kind of interests you, feel free to reach out to me or Dawn, or Denise is on the call as well. I believe I saw her. But yeah, hope to see all of you all there soon. And it was good to see all of you all today.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. So with that, I want to thank all of you for participating. Elizabeth, Stephanie, and Derek, thank you so much for your tips and tricks and input. I know that the three of them are available anytime, as well as, Denise and I, who are out there and about networking all the time too. Anytime you have questions, feel free to reach out to any of us, and Erin will send out to the group everyone who participated. So Stephanie, that was a great question, and good that we're going to be doing that. So well, again, thank you so much, and we're right on time, and everyone have a fabulous Wednesday. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.